In this video, I'm going to share 7 actions that you need to take on Fiverr to get your first client as a virtual assistant. Fiverr introduces new changes to the platform regularly, like most other freelancing platforms. So what is available on Fiverr today might not be available next week or next month. So all the features that you can see on Fiverr today, they can remove a feature at any time and they can add another feature anytime. For example, some time ago, you can go to Fiverr and you can go to buyer request to find potential client, write a proposal and send it to them. But they got rid of that. There is no way to find potential client and send them a proposal on Fiverr. Then they introduce buyer brief, which is where their own algorithm is going to decide if you are a fit for a certain project, and then they will send you an email to notify you about the brief, and then you can send a proposal to the potential client. But recently also they made a change to that feature. Not everyone have access to the feature. Only few freelancers who meet certain criteria have access to buyer brief. So they introduce new features and they remove new features regularly. So what is available today might not be available next month or next year. But the actions that I'm going to share with you today is something that I believe is going to stay evergreen. Unless Fiverr decided to shut down their platform or make some drastic changes, I don't think they are going to make any significant change to the 7 items that I'm going to share with you in this video. So if you learn these 7 items and you implement them right, you are going to be on the right path to finding your first client on Fiverr as a virtual assistant. The very first thing is, when someone is looking for a virtual assistant on Fiverr, they are going to go to Fiverr and search for virtual assistant. And when they search for virtual assistant, the first thing they are going to see are thumbnails. They are going to see a lot of gigs, a lot of packages from virtual assistant. And the only difference is mostly what they are going to see is the thumbnail. The gig thumbnail is the only difference, because they are going to see all gigs from virtual assistant offering the same type of services. And that is why the very first thing you need to put a lot of time and effort into making a great one is your gig thumbnail. If you don't have any graphic design experience, that is going to be challenging, because you might make a graphic and think, yeah, this looks nice, when in reality it doesn't look that nice and it will not stand out. There are many items that are going to help your gig thumbnail stand out, and that is why if you don't have any graphic design experience, you might end up creating a graphic that is not going to stand out. If you search on Fiverr, you are going to see a lot of gigs with a lot of thumbnails, especially if you search for virtual assistant. The gigs that are going to come up, the thumbnails aren't going to be that great. Whenever I search for virtual assistant on Fiverr, I see a lot of gig thumbnails that could use an improvement. And so that is why if you make your gig thumbnail right, it will have a higher chance of standing out, because the client won't even look at the title unless before looking at the thumbnail. The thumbnail is the first thing they are going to look at. A few good practices is, first, make sure you include your nice smiling face on your gig thumbnail. Don't try to include a full body picture or a picture that is too long. Try to include a picture that your face is the main focus of the picture, because having a nice smiling face is an easy way to connect with people. So that is why the first thing you shall include in your thumbnail is your nice smiling face. And the next thing you can include is a relevant text. Depending on the type of services you are offering, you can add a bullet point of the services you are offering as a virtual assistant, or you can add one intriguing title, or whatever you think is going to be interesting to potential client. My best advice that I can give you when it comes to your gig thumbnail is, if you don't have any graphic design experience, if you can afford to hire a graphic designer to make your gig thumbnail, that will be a good investment. If you can hire a graphic designer, you can hire a graphic designer on Fiverr and pay them something like $10 to create a very nice and attractive gig thumbnail that is going to stand out. Because gig thumbnail is the first thing potential clients are going to see. And if your gig thumbnail stand out and they like your gig thumbnail, they can read your title and they can even open your gig. And so the very first thing you shall put a lot of time and effort and everything into is your gig thumbnail. Okay, the very next thing you want to work on is your gig title. This is something that you don't need to spend a lot of time into crafting some complicated title, because Fiverr works like a search engine. So what you need to have is a clean title that is going to be searchable. All gig has to start with I will. So you can simply make your gig title, I will be your virtual assistant, or I will do virtual assistance. Something very simple and something that is searchable. If you write a title that is going to be hard for potential client to search, then your gig might not even come up when potential clients search for virtual assistant. So make your title very simple so that it has a best chance of appearing in search result. Okay, the next thing might scare you a little bit, and that is record a video introduction. You can record a video introduction and add it to your profile so that when potential clients check out your profile, they can see your video introduction. This is important because potential clients who want to hire virtual assistant, they are worried about many things. They are concerned about your level of English fluency, especially if English is not your first language, and they would like to see your face. They would like to know you have a calm and quiet working space. So that is why video introduction help a lot, and it also help you connect with potential client. And it can be 60 seconds. You can simply record a 60-second video introducing yourself, your name, your services, the services you are offering, your relevant experience, and anything that your potential client might be interested in knowing. If you want to have some inspiration, you can simply go to Fiverr, search for other virtual assistants, and listen to their video introduction, and you can take inspiration from there. And you don't need to have like a studio setup or anything like that. You can simply sit in your living room or anywhere that you can spend time doing your work. Make sure it is clean and nice and there is no noise in the background, no other people in the background, and you can simply record your video introduction. And all you need to record your video introduction is your phone. If you have a smartphone, you can simply record your introduction in your smartphone. This helps a lot. This will help you a lot in connecting with potential clients. Okay, the next thing that you need to work on is your gig description. When you create your gig as a virtual assistant, you have your title and your thumbnail. You also need to have a description. And that description, you need to work on it so that it is not difficult for potential clients to read and understand what you are offering to them. I read some descriptions that are way too long. Potential clients are not going to spend a lot of time reading your description. So that is why you should cut any plop. You should remove anything that is not really necessary. Add a few paragraphs, 1, 2, or 3 paragraphs, and then list all the services you are offering as a virtual assistant and write a call to action, like send me a quick message or send me a message and we can book a quick Zoom call if you feel like I am the right person for your business. You can take inspiration from other sellers, but make sure your description is clean and short and straight to the point. Within 2 paragraphs, you introduce yourself and then you list all the services you are offering in a bullet point format, and then you close with a call to action. That is going to be enough. If you make it too long, potential clients are not going to read, so it doesn't serve the purpose. And if you make it too short, like 1 or 2 paragraphs, that is all, then it doesn't cover everything. Write 1 or 2 or 3 paragraphs, then list in a bullet point format all the services you are offering as a virtual assistant. Then write another 1 or 2 paragraphs to thank them about checking your gig and to invite them to an interview. That is why when you are writing your title as a virtual assistant on Fiverr, you don't need to worry if you are offering calendar management, you are doing data entry, you are doing email management, you are doing technical support. Don't worry about incorporating all of this in your title. Your title can simply be, I will be your virtual assistant, or I will be your technical virtual assistant, or I will be your executive virtual assistant. In your gig description, that is when you are going to list all the individual services you are offering to clients. Okay, the next thing we need to have on Fiverr is portfolio items. You can create a portfolio on Fiverr. You can add graphics, you can add a document, you can add videos, and you can add links. So whatever service you are offering as a complete beginner, you haven't done any work for client. So if, for example, you want to do data entry as a virtual assistant, simply create sample, work on your skills, open Microsoft Excel, and create very nice and attractive data file that you can use as your portfolio. You can create several data files and you can include it in your portfolio. You just do the work as if a client hire you to do the work for them, and then you can include it in your portfolio. if you are offering something like calendar management, you can simply go to your own personal calendar, create some appointment, create some schedules, fill out your calendar, make it nice and attractive, and you can include a screenshot in your portfolio. Same thing if you are offering something like email management, or if you are offering something like graphic design, even better. If you are offering something like content writing, you simply write a sample, save it as PDF or Word, and then add it in your portfolio. This is very important because having attractive portfolio samples is what is even going to sell you to potential client. So make sure you put enough time into creating the best samples and add them as your portfolio. Okay, the next thing is price. Price is the next thing potential clients are going to look at when they open your gig. So this is a tricky one. When you are starting as a complete beginner, many beginners tend to go for the lowest price because they think that is what is going to give them an edge. And that isn't always true. When you are starting as a complete beginner, it's true you cannot charge the highest price, but charging the lowest price also is not going to be a good idea. One of the problems of charging the lowest price is potential clients who are looking for a reliable virtual assistant, they are not looking for the lowest price. And when they see the lowest price on your gig, they might think you are not confident about your own skills, and they will be worried about the quality of work you can deliver. And another major disadvantage of going with the lowest price is it's easy to find clients who are going to take advantage of you. They take up all your time so that you don't have enough time to even go after the right type of client. While you work for them, they pay you very little and you're just wasting your time. So that is why going for the lowest price is not the best idea. My advice to beginners is go with the medium price, and instead of trying to compete on price, compete on value, compete on what you can deliver to potential client. If a client asks you, maybe you are having an interview with a potential client and they said, okay, your price is maybe $8 per hour, and I'm interviewing other virtual assistants who are going to charge $5 per hour or even $3 per hour. Your response can be, I can do the job for you, and I know I can do the job right. And so that is why my price is set to this. And when you hire me, I'm going to go all in on your business and get the job done right. And if a client is looking for someone who can do the job right, then they will be interested in hiring you over someone who is going to charge the lowest price and probably end up not delivering the job right. So when it comes to price, don't try to go for the lowest price. Instead, stay around the average. Anywhere between $7 to $10 might be a good place to start if you are just getting started. But going below $7 is probably not going to be the best idea. Okay, the next thing is make sure to start responding to briefs. If briefs are available to you, then whenever Fiverr sends you an email about a brief, make sure to read the brief. And if it is something you can do, make sure you write a good proposal and you send it to potential client, because brief might even be your best chance of getting your first client if you are just getting started. Few months ago, or about even 2 months ago, briefs are available for everyone. But right now, briefs are not available for everyone. So if it is available for you, make sure to utilize it. Make sure to send proposal to potential client when you receive a brief. And like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, Fiverr make changes regularly. About 2 years ago, it was buyer request. Now it is brief. Anytime they might change brief to something else. So whatever they change it to, you as a complete beginner, you shall go all in on it and take advantage of it. And always remember, keep it in mind, when you are just getting started, it is going to take some time. If you want to know more about how long it might take you to find your first client, you can watch this next video where I shared how long it took me to find my first client and what you can do also to improve your chances of finding your first client fast. If you find this video helpful, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you in the next one.